Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Rochakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for giving us the wisdom of the teachers of the scriptures, along with what comes with them. Peace and salutation to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all your sincere Achiam across the globe, spreading this truth, and who might listen to this, and a few sisters also the same. Yeah, man. Today at the job, I was, one of the many breaks that I have at this job that I am right now. And I ran into this, man. Save your songs on Twitter. They retweeted somebody's tweet, Benjamin Carlson, and he asking the question, did you know this? 3 minutes before the second plane hit World Trade Center 2, an announcement went out to everyone in the building. WTC is secure, safe. Please return to your offices. Many who called 911 were told, shelter in place, wait to be rescued. Some people listened. Thankfully, many did not. That's one implication of the 298-page report published by 2005 by the National Institute on Standards and Technology. Why did 4 times as many people survive 9/11 by evacuating the building as died? They disobeyed authority. They used the elevators. They left their desks. They fled the buildings. The emergency personnel were doing the best with limited information, but the advice was not only wrong, but deadly. How many more would have died if the advice had been heeded? You see a beautiful picture of that notorious day, September 11th, 2001. By that time I was 21, and I just came back from holidays in Salau. And trust me, we were having a big ball out there, man. And ever since that day, the world changed. I myself, often when I talk to people who are younger than, under the 20s, I always ask them, what do you remember of that day? Some of them are even too young to remember that day. Because if you was 4 years old that day, you don't remember it now. Now that you're 16 or 18, So, let's go to that day, man. Because first thing I want to show you, I had to go into my Budget account for that. But I'm going to show you this video, man. And, let's just show it. So it's with no sound. So I'm gonna make it large and just play it right into full screen. See that? Look. Building number 2. Now, if you are still under the belief that the World Trade Center attacks from 9/11/2001 was done, see, from different angles, man, from different angles. This one, building 7, just collapsing for no reason, all with the controlled demolition, which curiously, back in the days when you was watching the news, they were always here in Holland. They not always, but oftenly, if some building in Texas, United States, or New York, United States, or Detroit, United States, was being brought down by controlled demolition, then they would show it at the end of the bulletin, at the end of the news journal, the news show. It is a show. And they would play it. They would play the footage, man, of the controlled demolition. Now, World Trade Center, 9/11, the so-called terrorist attacks, they were an inside job. All right. Esau, the so-called white man, he's been known, well, he got a history of false flags, man. Lithuania. Yeah, man. That Lithuania. Let me look it up otherwise, man. World War II. Lusitania. Yeah. The RMS Lusitania. Okay. By the end of the Second World War, because the Americans, they came into the war when it was already 3 years going on. And they needed a reason. Now the North Sea, the sea between Europe, Africa, South America, and the United States, I must say the Atlantic Ocean, by then was controlled by the Germans. All right. Now, the Americans planned their trip with the Lusitania, saying it correctly, Lusitania. You know, they planned their travel, the movement of the ships going to Europe from, I think, New York to England, London or something. And then the Germans posted in the New York Times, they posted a page-wide, how do you say it, warning to the United States citizens that if you would board the RMS Lusitania, that you would have a high risk of you dying on that ship because they was about to bring it down. Now the United States government decided to go into the ocean anyway, and what happened? The Germans attacked the ship, and you know, the Americans saw it as an act of war, and thus they were involved in the war. You know, and so there are many cases of the United States of America going into wars in which they had no business going in. Now the rest is history, and they went into the war. Also, the World Trade Center, man, they needed a reason to go into Iraq. They needed a reason to go into Afghanistan, because it all builds up to the upcoming World War III. All right, they needed their troops in that region of the world, the so-called Fertile Crescent, which is so-called Middle East. You know, and they needed a situation for them to go there, man. Because see, according to the book of Ezekiel, let's go there immediately. Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. All right. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 16. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. See, so they're plotting all these things, right? I remember back in the 90s, a whole lot of good movies like Die Hard and stuff like that, movies like that, they were always teamed with the terrorism team. Not always, but a lot of movies, you know, the action thriller movies, they had terrorism as a big theme in the movies. That was all to condition the people, because a terrorist act is a tool used by governments. But they changed it into terrorist tool used by angry Arab men, masked with Kalashnikovs in the desert. That's what they did, man. That's what Esau did. He changed the narrative, all right? So yeah, man. They sleep not unless they cause someone to fall, all right? And because they are wiser than Daniel, there's no secret that people can hide from them. So they know all how to do it, and they know how to brainwash people for 10 years straight before they execute their plans. All right? Like a slithering snake that he is, man. And he is a slithering snake, man. You see, another scripture, man. Psalm chapter 64, verse 6. They search out iniquities, so they're looking for where they can do evil. They accomplish a diligent search, so they search very deep and look every corner they lift, every corner, check it out. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. So their mind goes deep, right? Because the word heart over there in this scripture is la'ab. It means the mind. The mind is deep. They think. They sleep not unless they let someone to fall, man. Alright? But all this, as I said earlier in this video, is leading to World War III, Armageddon, alright? The valley of Yahweh Shabbat, the Most High's judgment that is coming. He's going to bring all the nations together, the Ishmaelites, Japhites, the Moabites, Ammonites, Elamites, Hamites, Esau, and they're going to have a fine, nice slaughter, in the valley of Yahweh Shabbat, which is in the Middle East. All right, and it all started back then. All right, it all leads to the road of destruction for the nations, man. All them Chinese, Japanese, coolies, which are native, which are East Indians, them Africans, them so-called white men, and so-called this goes in front of all the other nations too, man, because they are so-called by the world, but that's not a true biblical name, man. All right. So yeah, man. Back then, I was hanging a lot with guys that had Muslim faith. They were raised up that way by being a Muslim, and immediately everybody knew something was wrong, and I knew something was wrong also. And through the years, YouTube came. You saw footage, you saw videos. Side guys is one of them, And then you see stuff like that, like, yo, it was an inside job, right? Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Now, I'm not saying I'm from the very elect. I don't know that. I hope to be of the elect. But one thing is clear, man. They couldn't fool me. They couldn't fool a whole lot of us. All right? Yeah, you got people still to this day believing that the shit was done by them Arabs, Osama bin Laden and his people. But if you're from the elect, and even if you're not from the elect, man, if you're so-called woke Jake or the so-called black conscious world, well, a lot of them I think still believe in the lie. But also so-called white people, man, Edomites, they are woken up for years already, man, that this was an inside job by the Amalekites. One of the first things that came also from word of mouth is that, and this came from all the way from the United States, that I don't know how many hundred people of so-called Jewish descent, Amalekites, all right, so-called white people, but they had the Jew stamp on them. That Tuesday when it happened, they were not working. They called in sick and stuff like that. How is that? Because Amalek don't kill Amalek like that. He starts warning his people before it happens. Right? So yeah, man. I'm gonna look up another video. One more video and then I'm gonna close it, because there was this one video speaking about it the night before September 11th. Come on. Night before 9/11 news. Yeah. So I'm gonna play it, man. Let's see if you hear it. What I'm trying to show you.
Tonight, concern and outrage from parents about a party where a stripper performed for high school football players.
Oh wow.
We're live in Denver for a wrap-up of tonight's showdown between the Giants and Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Williams.
And I'm Bill Ritter. Thanks for staying up. Those stories in a moment. But first, the big basketball news tonight. Very big basketball news. The best basketball player ever tonight, all but confirming he's coming back. Michael Jordan.
There were young women.
We put him to work. And Williams.
And I'm Bill Ritter. Nightline is up next, and Eyewitness News returns in just a few hours at 5 a.m. with live election coverage from the polls. For all of us here, Sam, Scott, and Denver, the entire team, have a great morning. See you tomorrow. This shot, thanks for joining us on the Monday morning show.
Here it is.
And most of you sitting through the city with an inch and a quarter of rain. Inch and a quarter? That was the rainfall total for the park. Walk over to the wall. We'll show you what it looks like. This shot showing you lower Manhattan. And everything is actually in pretty good shape now as we work into clear.
You hear what he said? They go into the close-up of the World Trade Center, and he says something about Manhattan, downtown Amsterdam, New York, and everything seems clear now, he said. Now. Again, I'm going to play it again for you, man.
And a quarter of rain. Inch and a quarter. That was the rainfall total for the park. Walk over to the wall. We'll show you what it looks like. This shot showing you lower Manhattan. And everything is actually in pretty good shape now as we work into clear. But for us?
Now, people might say, yeah, he's talking about the news. Nah, man. Nah, he's not talking about the news, man. He's talking about the situation. That's why they went close up on the World Trade Center at that day. September the 8th of 2001, right? Yeah, it's all crazy, fucking stupid comments. We don't need that. So yeah, man. September 11th was an inside job. If you still don't know, well, I'm not going to say now you know, but if you still don't know, then you got a problem, man. Alright? So with that, I'm going to give all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashir, Hakodash. Shalom. It's on to the next. Shalom.